For 66 years, one question has haunted paleontology. Could Paranthropus make and use tools? The debate began in 1959 when Mary Leakey found the famous OH5 skull alongside stone tools in Tanzania's Olduvai Gorge. She declared it the oldest yet discovered maker of stone tools. But without hand bones, we could never be certain, until now. In October 2025, scientists published the first definitive Paranthropus Boisei hand bones ever found, KNM-ER 101,000 from Kenya's Lake Turkana. And what they reveal changes everything we thought we knew about our extinct cousins. These 1.52 million-year-old bones don't just fill a gap in the skeleton, they fill a gap in the argument. They show Paranthropus had the hardware for powerful manipulation and limited precision, reopening what tool use might have meant outside our direct lineage. July 17, 1959. Mary Leakey was walking through Olduvai Gorge when she spotted fossilized teeth protruding from ancient sediment. What she uncovered would electrify the scientific world. The skull she found belonged to Paranthropus boisei, a massive-jawed human relative that lived across East Africa from 2.3 to 1.2 million years ago. But it wasn't just the skull that made headlines. Scattered nearby were Alduin stone tools, simple cores and sharp flakes that someone deliberately struck from stone. The obvious conclusion seemed clear: Paranthropus was a toolmaker. But as decades passed, doubts emerged. Maybe early Homo species had made those tools. Maybe Paranthropus was just another victim of Stone Age hunters. Without hands, we couldn't know what those massive-jawed hominins were actually capable of. The mystery deepened when researchers realized that multiple hominin species coexisted in East Africa 1.5 million years ago. Homo habilis, Homo erectus, and Paranthropus boisei all shared the same landscapes, but which one was the toolmaker? Between 2019 and 2021, an international team led by Louise Leakey returned to Koobi Fora, the fossil-rich badlands on Lake Turkana's eastern shore where her mother, Meve, and grandfather, Louis, had made groundbreaking discoveries. In sediments dating to 1.52 million years ago, just above a layer containing ancient hominin footprints, the team began uncovering something extraordinary: fossilized bones scattered across several square meters. First came teeth, massive molars with the thick enamel characteristic of Paranthropus boisei, then skull fragments including a prominent sagittal crest. But it was what they found next that would rewrite textbooks. Hand bones, wrist bones, finger bones. For the first time in history, scientists had discovered hand fossils definitively associated with Paranthropus boisei craniodental remains. No guesswork, no uncertainty. These hands belonged to our massive-jawed relative. The preservation was extraordinary. A substantial portion of the hand bones survived, enough to reconstruct key thumb, palm, finger, and wrist anatomy, along with foot bones and vertebrae that would finally reveal what Paranthropus was truly capable of. The analysis required an international team of specialists: Carrie Mongol from Stony Brook, Callie Orr from Colorado, Matthew Totchery from Lakehead University, and many others, working with the Turkana Basin Institute to unlock the secrets these bones had held for 1.52 million years. What the scientists found defied easy categorization. The hand of KNM-ER 101,000 was a biomechanical paradox, combining human-like precision capabilities with ape-like power adaptations in ways no one had predicted. The thumb was long relative to the fingers, human-like proportions that would have enabled precision grips. The fingertips were broad with expanded digital pulps, perfect for manipulating small objects with fine motor control. But the bones also revealed something unprecedented. The fifth metacarpal, the bone leading to the pinky, was exceptionally robust, with massive muscle attachment sites that mirrored those found in gorillas. The entire hypothenar region, the muscular area of the palm opposite the thumb, had evolved to match the proportions and robusticity seen in gorillas. Yet the wrist bones told a different story. Unlike later Homo species, KNM-ER 101,000 retained primitive, ape-like joint configurations that would have limited the effectiveness of precision pinch grips compared to modern humans. The combination suggested a hand optimized for powerful gripping, especially with the ulnar side where the pinky and hypothenar muscles dominated. This wasn't only about climbing. The foot bones showed a committed bipedal walker, but the hand retained power grip capacity that could also support climbing-style grasping. The feet were fully committed to bipedalism. The big toe was short relative to humans, but showed none of the grasping adaptations seen in earlier hominins like Australopithecus. Paranthropus boisei walked upright across the landscape, using those powerful hands for something other than climbing. To understand what these unique hand proportions meant, Researchers compared KNM-ER 101,000 to over 100 specimens from humans, great apes, and fossil hominins using cutting-edge morphometric techniques. The results were stunning. In specific features, particularly the robusticity of the fifth ray and hypothenar complex, Paranthropus boisei had convergently evolved to match gorillas with statistical precision. But this wasn't evolutionary relationship. It was convergent adaptation to similar mechanical demands. Both gorillas and Paranthropus boisei needed powerful, palm-dominated grips for processing tough, fibrous vegetation. Isotope studies had already revealed that Paranthropus boisei consumed a diet dominated by tough, grass-like plants, C4 vegetation that required extensive processing to extract nutrients. Now the hand bones explained how they did it. Those gorilla-like hands would have excelled at powerful gripping, crushing, and manipulative processing of tough plant materials, turning inedible grasses into digestible nutrition through intense manual labor. But critically, the human-like thumb proportions meant these same hands could have manufactured and used stone tools. Paranthropus wasn't limited to one adaptive strategy. They had evolved a multi-purpose manipulative system. This was the first direct evidence that early hominins could be both specialized food processors and generalized tool users, challenging long-held assumptions about hominin ecological niches. The discovery of KNM-ER 101,000 resolves the 66-year-old debate that began with Mary Leakey's OH5 discovery. It doesn't prove Paranthropus invented Olduvai technology, but it ends the idea that they couldn't have used tools at all. Instead of being generalized tool users like early Homo, Paranthropus had evolved as ecological specialists, using their powerful hands primarily for intensive plant processing while retaining tool-making capabilities as a secondary adaptation. This explains how multiple hominin species could coexist in the same East African landscapes 1.5 million years ago. They weren't competing for identical resources, they had specialized in different ways of making a living. While early Homo developed increasingly sophisticated tool technologies to access diverse food resources, Paranthropus committed to extracting maximum nutrition from abundant but tough plant materials through intensive manual processing. The massive jaws and dental adaptations of Paranthropus weren't evolutionary dead ends. They were part of an integrated feeding system that included specialized hands for pre-processing tough vegetation before mastication. This specialist strategy worked for nearly a million years, allowing Paranthropus to thrive across East Africa's changing landscapes by efficiently exploiting a food resource other hominins couldn't access. Their eventual extinction around 1.2 million years ago likely resulted not from adaptive failure, but from climate changes that reduced the abundance of their specialized food sources while favoring the dietary flexibility of Homo. KNM-ER 101,000 fundamentally changes how we understand early hominin evolution. Rather than a simple progression toward modern human-like behavior, the Pleistocene witnessed multiple successful experiments in becoming human. The convergent evolution between Paranthropus hands and gorilla hands demonstrates that similar environmental pressures can produce remarkably similar solutions across distantly related species. More broadly, the findings support growing evidence that tool use extends deep into hominin evolutionary history, not as a single innovation, but as a recurring solution to environmental challenges. The definitive association of hand bones with craniodental remains in KNM-ER 101,000 provides a methodological template for future discoveries, showing how complete behavioral reconstructions require anatomical completeness. The discovery reveals that early Pleistocene ecosystems were far more complex than previously understood, supporting multiple hominin species through ecological specialization rather than direct competition. Understanding how ancient hominins adapted to environmental change through specialization provides insights for modern conservation challenges, showing both the power and vulnerability of ecological specialization. KNM-ER 101,000 opens new research directions in functional morphology, experimental archaeology, and paleoecology, demonstrating how exceptional fossils can transform entire fields of study. The story of KNM-ER 101,000 is ultimately about two different ways of being human. Early Homo chose the path of technological generalists, using tools to access diverse resources and eventually conquering every environment on Earth. Paranthropus chose biological specialization, evolving remarkable anatomical adaptations to excel in a specific ecological niche. For nearly a million years, this strategy proved extraordinarily successful. Their eventual extinction reminds us that specialization, while powerful, comes with risks. When environments change rapidly, specialists may lack the flexibility to adapt. Today, as we face our own environmental changes, the story of Paranthropus boisei offers both inspiration and caution, showing how life finds extraordinary solutions to survival challenges, while reminding us that no adaptation lasts forever. Mary Leakey's 1959 discovery launched a 66-year quest to understand our extinct relatives. KNM-ER 101,000 provides the answer and opens new questions about the remarkable diversity of ways to be human. In the end, Paranthropus boisei was neither primitive nor failed. They were magnificent specialists who remind us that evolution doesn't always favor our particular path, it favors whatever works, for as long as it works.